Yoga, wine. Welcome to my podcast. This is Valerie Hale. This podcast is for the youth. It is for the recent college grad. It's for the high school senior. For those who are feeling the pains of this pandemic economy and hearing that it's going to be very difficult to find something you love to do or to find a career or a vocation or a good job. That is simply untrue. I'm going to share information with you that is going to help you propel through the pandemic economy. And this is information they will never teach us in school. They have never taught us in school. And it's going to be a bit woo-woo for some. Hang in there, listen up. You want to employ one of the most important laws of the universe. Bob Proctor and Mary Morrissey both teach us what the laws of the universe are and how to engage them in our everyday life. Dr. Price Pritchett, who is world-renowned for mergers and acquisition, change management, also believes in the unseen forces. Imagination is what all three of these are talking about. You want to use your imagination to create the vocation, the career, the job, the lifestyle. This is your first key to propelling you out of the pandemic economy. How do you do this? Let's start with a list of 20 vocations, careers, professions, even your lifestyle. Start a list and write 20 things down. Here are the rules. Do not think about how it's going to be done. Do not think about the resources. Do not think about the education or the money. All of this comes to fruition when you begin imagining the career, the vocation, the job that you want, the lifestyle that you want to live. It begins with your imagination. Once you have created this list of 20 careers, vocations, jobs, lifestyle, set it aside for a day. Come back, look at this list. What has a burning desire for you? What would you absolutely love? Circle 2 of them. You can circle another one, but the idea is to focus on just 2. I'm a believer in multiple sources of income. Therefore, I believe 2 is okay. But then whittle it down to the one that really sends you to outer space with love. The next step you're going to do is create an opportunity for yourself. Do not wait for a want ad. Do not wait for a career fair. I want you to reach out to the company or a person who can give you some inside information into that industry, whether that be a pilot or a firefighter, or you feel driven to serve the world in a bigger capacity, maybe be a doctor in South Africa. Just reach out to people, whether that means via the internet or to pick up the phone or to actually make a person-to-person contact, someone you know. Start getting a feel for what it would be like to be in that industry. When I talk about creating your own opportunity, this is what I mean. I was in the fine wine and spirits industry for over 25 years. I only had to use my resume the very first time I started in this career. What I did was I began a specialized career in French wine. No one in the Hudson Valley area could speak French. They couldn't pronounce the French wine names. It helped I was married to a Frenchman. However, after that first career where I had to submit a resume, I had everything at my fingertips. It was amazing. People were calling me to work for them. Therefore, you have skills. You have knowledge that you haven't even tapped, even at a young age. That's how you create your own opportunity, is look at what your skills are now, combine that with your burning desire, and you can teach yourself along the way. Price Pritchett says that many of our dreams simply stop in their tracks because we believe we have to have all these resources to get going. You don't. I didn't know that much about French wines, really, when I first began. I had to study. I had to go back and forth to France. I had to take private French lessons, but it got done. Within 25 years, even before that, within 5 to 7 years, I was very well known as a French expert. People were calling me about what to order for their restaurants or else their fine wine bars. Create your own opportunity. And if you are still feeling muddled about this, go to my website, shayvalerie.us. The first thing I want you to do is click under Wealth, and you're going to click on Magic in Your Mind. It's an audio lesson. The first lesson is about imagination. There is a wealth of information here to get you started. Also, once you listen to this a few times about engaging your imagination, I want you to start listening to the other 2 master classes. All this is free. Listen to Bob Proctor's Science of Getting Rich. Listen to Mary Morrissey's 8 Spiritual Secrets to Abundance. These sound like it's all about money, and they are not. That may be the end game for you, but it's really to getting you prepared to propel yourself beyond the pandemic economy. The headlines say we're not going to make it economically. They are wrong. Don't listen, don't read the stuff, especially if you're young, especially if you're in an environment where everybody believes that you're not going to have a good future in the world. You create your economy. Another story, Steve Jobs, he was 12 years old. He's living in the Silicon Valley before it was ever named the Silicon Valley. He's tinkering with some mechanical object he's making, and he needs a part or he needs a tool. He needs something that he doesn't have. And he calls up one of the senior executives at Hewlett-Packard, and he talks to him, explains his project, what he's working and tinkering on, tells him what he needs. And the senior executive says, yeah, sure, you can just have it. Come here, and we may have something here for you to help us with. And that's what happened. Now, this was 50 some odd years ago, and Steve Jobs was under the age of working formally, but they had him in their office, and he worked in some capacity, a little part-time here. But that's the point, is Steve Jobs made himself uncomfortable. You want to make yourself uncomfortable just a little bit every day. Mary Morrissey teaches to take little action steps every day. And maybe that does involve going to a virtual career fair and getting more information. I love networking. I'm a networking queen, but we know with the pandemic, none of these are happening in person, but virtually you can meet lots of people. Another idea is Zoom meetings. Look at Meetup. You can do a Zoom meeting meetup. There's lots of resources. So when you go to my website, click on Wealth, you'll get started with some great ideas. Just don't listen to the pandemic economy naysayers. You're going to make this. You just have to believe in the laws of the universe and unseen forces. One more example that involves burning desire. Mary Morrissey has a few of her kids working for her company, Brave Masters Thinking. John Boggs was working in Cabo at this kind of rundown vacation resort, he says, and he was beginning to really hate his job. But in the midst of all this, he was having this burning desire to provide more for his family. He wanted a larger house. And it's not because he was trying to impress anybody, but his son came to him one day. They had just had twins, and his son got kicked out of his house. I think they had him living in a closet. And his son said to Dad, Dad, when do you think I can have my own room again? And this hit John hard. He began to have a burning desire, a vision for a larger house in the specific land that they had owned. Within 6 months, a finance company from the United States had approached John. He was literally standing on his slab of basement that he only had the money to start. And the gentleman offered him financing, $800,000 to build this dream house for his family. The key here is that John was doing something that he loved for his son and his family, and he had a burning desire. That's laws of the universe. Those are unseen forces, and that's what's going to get my youth that I'm talking to with this podcast. That's what's going to get you through the pandemic economy. Kundalini Yoga. This is another tool that has gotten me through the pandemic economy, and even before that, because I have studied Kundalini Yoga and practiced it every day for over 26 years. Another one of my virtual teachers is Guru Jagat. She is so different from Har Prakash. She teaches many virtual classes. I have been doing 3 virtual classes specifically on prosperity every morning. That's how I start my Kundalini Yoga, is with her. She also has something really cool called the Ra-Ma Business School. I took 3-day free classes from her so I would get a taste of what it was like, and I'm certainly going to put that into my toolbox and enroll. Already busy with Mary Morrissey's class right now. I would strongly suggest, and all this information is on the podcast details, would strongly suggest that you check out the Ra-Ma Business School. Combine the Kundalini Yoga, this business school that Guru Jagat has, with the 3 gurus that I study, Bob Proctor, Mary Morrissey, and Price Pritchett. You will have a degree in amazing tools that nobody who graduates from high school or from college are going to have. You're going to have way more opportunities that you have created than these folks who think you have to get a college degree. I'm not saying don't go to college. I am saying you need to think differently and you need to employ different skills. And that's what this podcast is guiding you toward when you go to my website and click on Wealth and take those courses. And I strongly suggest that you enroll in one of those classes for a longer and more depth teaching that you will have forever. Definitely check out Guru Jagat. She's amazing. Wine. All right, I don't know if you guys are old enough to drink, but the college grads, listen to this. It's the season of rosés, most people say. For me, because I was in the wine industry for so long and the French arena forever, rosés I drink all year long. But 3 of them that are my favorite and imported from T. Edward Wines, one of my favorite wine importers. The first one is Chateau Pigoudet. That is a Provence, and it is classic in all the varietals, Grenache, Syrah, Cinsault, but he adds a little bit of Cabernet Sauvignon. You would never know this because Cabernet Sauvignon is heavy, tannic, and of course it's a very dark fruit when it's fermented properly. He just adds a touch, and this is what we call a patio pounder and a coiffer in the industry. You can easily drink a bottle of this with your friends, maybe by yourself. I don't suggest that. But it's a delicious, delicious rosé. Just Chateau Pigoudet. Yeah, T. Edward Wines imports it. The next one I love is Pichon. And this is from the Cote du Ventoux, which is a satellite of Rhone. The predominant grapes are going to be Syrah and Grenache. This is pretty much a full-bodied rosé. And because you're a little closer to the Mediterranean, it can stand up to heavier foods. The strange thing about this wine, it always reminds me of baby bear aspirin. Don't know why, but it does. When you have this with certain foods, though, it's delicious. It loves olives, it loves capers, it loves artichokes, it would love paella and the nice big seafood dishes that you can make, the seafood stews. A sad note, though, Anne Pichon's husband, Mark Pichon, probably one of the funniest men I have ever met, was unfortunately run over by a drunk driver one night a few years ago, just taking garbage out to their community garbage. When you are in the country of France, when you're in the countryside, it's pitch black at night. The guy had been drinking, but anyway, buy Anne Pichon's wines, especially this rosé, and beautiful labels. They have bees on the label because they have a bee apiary. I love that. and Pichon. Yeah, they make a whole line of labels. You don't have to stick to rosé. And the last one is from Austria. Landhaus is the winemaker, the winery. And it is a really cool grape that if you're not in the industry, you're not going to know anything about it. Zwegeilt. It's very similar to Pinot Noir, but I do think it's a little bit on the drier side. Beautiful rosé from Austria. Landhaus. Love those wines. To wrap this up, for the high school graduate, for the college graduate, forget the pandemic economy. I want you to delve into imagination, one of the laws of the universe, and unseen forces that all three of these people talk about. Go to my website, listen to Magic in Your Mind as far as that first audio, which talks about imagination. And then when you're in the mood, go back and study Bob Proctor's Science of Getting Rich and Mary Morrissey's 8 Spiritual Secrets to More Abundance. This young people will open doors for you. You're going to create your own opportunities. And then visit Guru Jagat's website. Definitely delve into a Rama business school. Very unusual, but super helpful and will propel you again to a whole nother orbit. Enjoy wine if you're old enough. Those 3 rosés I mentioned, I will list them on my podcast details. And as I always mention, I'm not a life coach. I'm not a consultant. I do this podcast to help hundreds of people every day. Merci et au revoir.